afternoon, everybody. My name is Anastasia Kilmer. I just want to reference, this is the U.S. government agency that I'll be discussing today, the Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. And for the rest of the speech, I'll refer to it as HUD because it's such a long name, and you'll get used to the acronym, as most people in the industry have. So what I'd like you to think about is that on any given night, HUD estimates, according to a 2012 press release, that about 60,000 veterans struggle to find a secure place of housing for the night. On any given night, about 60,000. Now, what I'd like to talk to you about today is a federal grant program through HUD that addresses this basic need for veterans. Now, this grant is especially relevant to the Bloomington area because a local agency has been given this grant to address this homeless need in the area. Now, this grant is for 3 years at a sum of $1 million. And it's to be used in such a way to build housing or give housing vouchers to area veterans. Now, the agency that has been awarded this grant is the Shalom Community Center. And it's a local agency that provides basic provisions and also case management. So they've been tasked with the management of this $1 million fund. And in the past 6 months, I've been working with their volunteer accountant to sift through the mountains of paperwork that come with a grant like this, because the level of accountability is incredibly high, so we have to document the entire life of the whole $1 million. So there's a lot of paperwork involved that we've been working with. Now, as I said, these funds must be doled out by the Shalom Center relatively at their discretion. So many of the people who are receiving this actually frequent the centers, as I said, their provisions and case management. Now, in total, as reported in a 2012 article in Indiana Public Media, this has allowed the center to provide rental assistance and build a 25-unit apartment building. Now, I'd like you to think for a moment that this only constitutes help for about 34 singles and couples and 6 families. So if we do a little math, we can examine that last year, when this grant was given, this $1 million grant, it was given to each of the 50 states in a total of $75 million. So if we kind of factor in cost of living, we can estimate really roughly that $1 million equals about 30 people. So every year, this federal grant can only address, as I told you, 60,000 have trouble finding housing every night, can only address about 4% of the need of the homeless veterans that our population sees. However, despite this projected need in this population, there are concerns. And these concerns realistically come out of the fear of the homeless for being different. A lot of this comes from mental illness, including PTSD, and also drug abuse. And according to, or as noted in the 2011 fact sheet called Homeless Among Veterans by the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness, that's a government agency that really just monitors the statistical data on the homeless. About half of homeless veterans have serious mental illness, and 70% have substance abuse problems. So the community tends to worry that they'll all be housed in one place, and then this will pose a threat to the community. However, to address this, as I told you, there are mountains of paperwork, mountains of accountability. Within those are recommendation forms from counselors from the VA clinic, counselors at the Shalom Center that have been working with a lot of these folks for a long time and know their problems and know that despite some of those issues that each of these recipients might have, that they are best suited to benefit from this kind of stabilizing program. And in addition to the mountains of paperwork, there's also public hearings and numerous community notices that go out in mailboxes. They have meetings. They had a meeting at Bloomington South High School to just let the public know what was happening so they could be aware of the changes that are happening in the community. They also have to get authority of the planning committee to build the building that Shalom is planning to build. And since they got their grant last year, they did build a 25-unit building complex called Crawford Apartments on the south side of Bloomington. And since then, 25 singles and couples have moved into that location. And the Shalom Center right now, I volunteer there twice a week. We're right now notifying people, the additional 6 families who will be placed into housing assistance throughout the area, just kind of peppered around Bloomington. So I suggest you keep up with this. It's been in the news. the local Bloomington news, and I cited a few Bloomington or Indiana public media stories. So any kind of Google Bloomington Grant Shalom Center will bring up a lot of the statistics about this. And Shalom Center also gives out a yearly booklet that chronicles all of the life of this money. So I suggest you keep up with it. It's having a really heavy impact on our community. And it's just one way that Uncle Sam helps its homeless veterans.